Rev up your engines! Okay, today we're into the realm of a Volkswagen. It's a Volkswagen Jetta. This man is a glutton for punishment. It's like the fourth Jetta that he's bought. And we're going to go through it and see the good, the bad, the ugly, and should you even think about getting one of these? Now, this is the fourth one he's owned. He only paid $2,000 for the thing, okay? $2,000, and he's put on 50,000 miles. He's done quite a bit of work on it, too. He's learned how to do it because he's owned 3 Jettas before. And they all would break down. For example, he had to put a transmission, and now he got lucky and got a used transmission that worked. Nobody really knows how to fix them. He just got a junkyard one. Luckily, it worked. He's done the clutch, the timing belt, the water pump, the head gasket. He's rebuilt the front end. You can't blame that on the car because somebody stopped short in front of him and he smashed up the front. But he's done all that stuff himself. He paid $2,000. He figured he's probably got another 3, so he's got $5,000 in it, but he's driven it 50,000 miles. On the other hand, if you're not good with your hands fixing cars, don't even think about buying one of these because, yeah, he's got $5,000 in it. For all the work that he did, if he would have paid a Volkswagen mechanic to do it, he'd have like 15 to 20 grand in it. A lot of stuff you can do yourself if you don't mind fiddling around. Really? I still say he's a glutton for punishment. This is the fourth one he's had. Now, as you can see, he's done a lot of modification, and he got rid of a lot of the evap stuff. He can do that even though he's in Massachusetts because this thing is over 15 years old. The Massachusetts laws, it doesn't do emissions testing after 15 years old. That's one of the reasons he buys a car like this, because he doesn't have to deal with all that horse manure. Just like in Tennessee, only Tennessee, it's all the time. They don't inspect any car. So you don't have to think about it at all. But you get something like this, over 15 years old, you don't have to deal with any of that crap. You can delete the stuff he doesn't need to and get it running fine and not have to pay a fortune to somebody to find out that some stupid evap hose is leaking under the car and you got to take half the car apart. Now, this is 1.8 liter turbo, and you can see it's not that big. So he was able to do the head gasket work himself. It's not all that heavy. And unlike the 2-liter turbos that Volkswagen and Audi have the worst problems with, I know an Audi mechanic, he says that the dealership does 20 to 30 of those 2.0 turbo engines every month because they're always blowing up. These 1.8 turbo engines are actually decent engines. This one's got a standard transmission in it. Now, when he bought this thing for $2,000, it had 130-something thousand miles on it. With a manual transmission, yeah, it finally wore out. He got lucky and he got one in a junkyard that works perfectly fine. But realize the value of these Jettas, they're a lower end car, isn't that much. So they get totaled like that, especially when they get to be older. So there's tons of engines and trannies and junkyards. They were going okay, but the car got totaled. Speaking of totaling, he's got a hilarious story. When it did get hit, instead of this ding here, they said they totaled the car. Because they said the value of the car was $3,000, and being a German car, the body work was more than that, right? So he got to keep the car as part of the dealer, and they gave him $3,000. So then he went and got junkyard parts and bolted them on. If you don't mind doing that kind of stuff, hey, feel free. But like I say, if you're the type of person that doesn't work on cars, don't ever buy one of these things used. You'd be insane. Now, I can't comprehend it myself, but worldwide, they've sold over 15 million of these Jettas. The reason Volkswagen always sold a lot of cars, and one year they even sold more than Toyota, is because they cost less, they're zippy, they are fun to drive. They're a lot more fun to drive than a Toyota, I admit it. You know, they are more fun to drive. It's just that they're not fun to fix. The Toyotas, you hardly ever touch them. These are always doing something. Like I say, if you don't do it yourself and you pay somebody, it's going to cost you a small fortune. But the original cost of these Volkswagens is dirt cheap. That's how they sold so many Jettas, even in the United States for a while. They were selling quite a few of them because they were priced so low and they ran so well when they were new. I remember a customer of mine in Houston, she got one. I said, and it was falling apart. She bought it used like 120,000 miles. She should have never bought it. It was falling apart to begin with, right? So I said, why did you buy this? Oh, my father told me to get a Volkswagen because he had a Beetle when he went to college, you know. The old Beetles, they're cool. They have nothing to do with these things. These are high-tech cars, not something you can fix yourself. When they do break, realize, just like BMWs, there's all kinds of plastic crap on these things that are going to snap, they're going to break off, then you got to buy this. I've had customers' door handles break off 8 or 10 times, they fix them, and then a year or two later they break again. Maybe have a little bit of fun for a little money like he did. Feel free, just never buy one of these cars if you're not mechanically inclined and willing to put a lot of time and also be kind of a riverboat gambler throwing those dice. Because, hey, he bought a used standard transmission. Who's to say whether it's going to work? It works fine. Now, he got lucky, but it's a lot of work if the thing didn't work when you put it on. It's got really comfortable seats. He had a little tack here. So let's start her up. Hey, it started up, which in and of itself is kind of amazing because we had to jump start it to get in the garage. He drove it over here, but then the battery went dead. Typical Volkswagen Jetta. He straight piped this thing with big pipes, took the catalytic converter and everything off of it. So it makes quite a bit of noise. That's what guys generally want in a GLI. He does own a GTI, and those are fun, zippy little cars. And the hilarious thing is, okay, this thing was made in Mexico, and for a while they were making the GTIs in Mexico, but even Volkswagen realized the Mexicans didn't do such a good job, so they moved the GTI production back to Germany. And when they moved it to Germany, hey, then they went back to quality. Made in Mexico, especially if you're going GTI top of the line stuff. That one works. That one works. And well, they all work. That's a rarity. And the sunroof works. And he's a speed demon, so he's got a radar detector. Okay, he got the door open with a hip thrust, so that'll show you things are kind of bent. But it's got a reasonable amount of room in the back seat. Not outrageous, right? But they are actual seats for more than just miniature schnauzers. So here we go out of my driveway, out of the garage, and we'll take it for a spin. We go on the bumpy roads. Now, these things have a nice driving suspension. It's a small wheelbase car. You're going to feel bumps, but really, the bouncing around here is because they're the original shocks with, 180,000 miles on them. So we're going to get a bouncy ride here. He's got some good shocks that he's waiting to hook up, so. Now here we go. Hey, this thing whizzes along. But speaking of whizzing, that noise you heard is a turbo, and he's going to replace that soon. Because it's on its way out too. He likes driving the thing, and it is fun to drive. I mean, sacrilegiously enough, the first car I ever owned was a German car, an Opel. I drove the heck out of that thing. I paid $500 for my Opel, and he paid $2,000 for this. So that's probably what inflation would be. For having a lot of fun with something you don't mind working on, they are fun to drive when they're still going down the road. It makes a great sound. It is fun to drive. I mean, look at this thing. There's the whistling turbo. Yeah, I kind of like it. And listen to this. So it's warning people, beware, Volkswagen Jetta on the way. Things may explode at any moment. So there you have it, a $2,000 Jetta, but he did get $3,000 from the insurance company. So now he's got $5,000 into the thing, and it really is a lot of fun. Sure, it backfired. It's going to need a turbo soon, and he's done a head gasket, replaced the transmission. I mean, the reason that people actually buy them who aren't like him or are mechanically inclined to buy a used one cheap is because they are zippy. They are fun, but as you see with what he's done with his, they do fall apart. And even though he's only got $3,000, that's parts, baby. Ask a Volkswagen dealer labor. Add another 10 to 15 grand to that, right? And who's going to put that into an old car? Nobody. They sell them new like hotcakes. These things are all made in Mexico. And the quality isn't that great. Look at the problems Ford's having with the stuff they're making in Mexico, and GM and Chrysler, the stuff they're making in Mexico. The quality just isn't there. So I mean, you want to have a lot of fun in a zippy little car, and you don't mind getting your hands dirty and gambling with used parts and doing a lot of work, yeah, you can have a lot of fun. But if you're a normal human who just gets in his car, turns and puts gas in and drives it, I'd say stay away from an old Jetta like the plague. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Liam Zell says, what should I do with my car? I got an '06 Honda Odyssey with a rebuilt transmission with 200,000 miles. The transmission is shot again. I don't want to fix it. What should I do? Part it out, sell it? You realize I've always warned people, do not buy Honda Odysseys. Their transmissions stink, right? They've just had so many problems with them. They make your head spin. If you want to try to make money. Advertise it locally, anything you want to put online. Transmission shot in Honda Odyssey. And if it's in good shape, take some nice pictures of the inside and the outside. And say, best offer, takes it away. Somebody might want to put a remanufactured or even a junkyard transmission in. That's the most money you're going to get, right? You call up a junkyard, they'll tow it away. Sometimes they'll charge you to tow it away, or they'll give you $100 or something. But there's lots of parts and stuff on it. And hey, maybe somebody out there's got a Honda Odyssey, got a good engine and tranny, it got in a big wreck. They'll buy your car, they take all the parts off your car and put it on theirs. It could be $8,000 worth of parts if they had to buy them from Honda, but they'll buy your whole vehicle and then use that. So that's how I would sell it if I were you. Be honest, say, transmission shot, that's gone. But lots of good parts on it. Look at the shape. If it's not smashed in, take all the pictures, show the seats, show everything. Maybe it's got good tires too, show pictures of the tires, and see what somebody will offer you for it. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.